Welcome to the Honest Media. I'm Tom Pappert, your host, and today, of course, is Thursday, November 2nd, 2017. So I apologize, we've been gone these last few weeks. It took longer than I expected, but as you can see, we've got a new studio, a new coat of paint, some new furniture, and we're excited to get this show back on the road. So since we've been gone a couple weeks, we've missed quite a bit. Obviously, the Democrats are continuing their inward implosion into obliteration. They're going right on and saying their typical nonsense. They're keeping up the identitarian tactics that led them to a massive electoral defeat in 2016, and they seem to not realize that doing the same thing over and over and over again might not work. Meanwhile, their cronies in Hollywood are being outed as deviants, predators, pedophiles, and rapists. What a time to be alive. However, that is not keeping other stars from risking the Trump curse by opening their stupid mouths. Still, the Trump administration is going full speed ahead, recently releasing its tax plan, which shockingly keeps Mr. President Trump's campaign promises. But first, I think what we need to talk about on today's first broadcast in our new studio here is the New York City terrorist attack and how it could have been completely prevented if not for activist judges and obstructionist Democrats. Kirk, I think that's an angle that nobody else is really honing in on. And I've got a Breitbart article here. The New York City foreign terror suspect entered the United States with a diversity visa, the very same ones that Trump wants to get rid of.
Imagine that, huh?
Who could have possibly seen that coming? I don't know. It's almost like if you pay attention to the current events in every terrorist attack, it's almost like there's patterns.
You know, it's starting to shape up that way. You would think that we're starting to see something here, bud.
But you know, I've been told by many Democrats, by many liberals, by many neoliberal progressives, as they like to call themselves, whatever that means, that patterns, noticing patterns, are racist. You're not allowed to do this.
Well, it is. And it almost seems like these guys tend to be Muslim a lot. I'm not sure, but...
You bigot! You bigot! Hashtag not all Muslims! Hashtag all whites. But it really is just mind-boggling how, I mean, the president comes up against such pushback when he says, hey, let's stop letting people in the country just because of the color of their skin. And then the people who they get let in, they're bad people. It's totally nonsense.
Well, hopefully they'll get rid of all them little visas here soon, and Muhammad and his buddies will all be gone. So
I hope so. I almost worry that it's going to get worse because you've got these activist judges, right? I mean, another judge blocked some other part of one of Trump's bans against these people coming in the country. You get these activist judges who are unelected. They're basically the new tyrants who they somehow get into their position, they grease the right palms, they pucker up and kiss the right backsides, and suddenly you've got a judge in Honolulu, Hawaii, who is making federal law for the United States of America, all 50 states.
You just described American politics. So
I think, unfortunately, yes, unelected, unchosen, not the will of the people. But, you know, the worst part to me isn't even these sick freaks committing the crimes or the sick freaks who let it happen in Washington. It's the legitimately mentally ill people on MSNBC and CNN and everywhere else who, they're the propaganda monsters, right? They have to sit here and
the apologists.
Exactly. And you say that like, you know, oh, what are they going to talk about now? Well, MSNBC's, quote, terrorism analyst said that Allahu Akbar was not an Islamic terrorism attack. The guy screamed Allahu Akbar, not an Islamic terrorist attack.
He could have said Aloha Snack Bar, and then the truck attack just happened.
It just freak accident. These things happen.
We got to do something about these trucks, bud.
Well, you know, I think what we need to do is, first of all, no truck needs to go faster than 40 miles an hour. Let's be honest.
Probably 20.
20 for I mean, you definitely need a license, a different, better license to go above 20.
Yes.
Because frankly, I mean, no human can go 20 miles an hour. So to think that a vehicle needs to go that fast, totally out of the realm of possibility.
It's insane.
And you know, I don't see anything in the Constitution about a constitutional right to automatic vehicles. I think that's also a problem. We need to go back to what it used to be as the founders
intended. Horse and buggy.
Horse and buggies. There is no automation, no moving parts. There is no danger.
But then, you know, horses have been used to trample lots of people through the years, so.
Oh, Good Lord, I didn't even think about
Yes.
that. But
and then you get a sword, and
But
imagine
see,
what you can
if
do.
you have licenses for the horses, if you have to have a horse license or a horse tax stamp, perhaps,
Yes.
I think this can work. And if we all band together and pass just 6 or 7 more regulations, I think we can end terrorism.
It's a good plan.
I think we can
Yes.
make it work. And so, meanwhile, talking about the Lugan press, the dishonest media, the lying scum who call themselves anti-racist and moderates, one of them, an individual, recently made the claim that saying, does President Trump support slavery? That's a totally okay thing to say. That's totally fine.
Yeah.
That's not weird. No, but you could ask the President of the United States, a country that really spearheaded the end of slavery in the West. Just ask him, hey, do you want to bring slavery back, Mr. President?
I think we should, but it should be for commies only. Anybody suspected of communism.
But how on earth are they? We're not going to get any work done. That would be the least effective
that's
slaves.
true.
These weak little
They would, the stronger one would rise up and have the weaker ones work for them. That's how it usually works.
This can actually be, talk about right-wing conspiracies, this is actually a eugenics program to make the left stronger so they can actually fight back.
And then,
see, it's for their own good.
Then we'll release them into public and see what happens.
And see what happens.
Yes.
Maybe the strongest will survive. Maybe we'll actually have a left wing that can fight back. I don't know, but when we come back, we're going to talk about what's happening coming up on November 4th. And believe me, you're going to want to be prepared. We'll be right back after this break. You're watching The Honest Media. Welcome back to The Honest Media. So we're talking about the dishonest media. We're talking about these blood-sucking villains at CNN. You know, it made me remember, Craig, a couple months ago, do you remember when Antifa had their they were named by President Trump. So they suddenly went from obscure right-wing conspiracy to mainstream news. And I'm sure you remember, Craig, that CNN came out and said that what Antifa wants is not bad. What Antifa wants is simply peace through violence.
Yes.
Peace through violence.
I was going to say something bad, but yeah.
I see nothing wrong with this. Peace through violence, except the actual definition of terrorism, and I'm paraphrasing only a little bit here, is using violence for political goals. So I don't know if that's very different between Antifa and the actual terrorists.
It's all about how you phrase it.
It's all branding.
Yes.
It depends on if there's...
Peace through violence, Tom.
And it depends if there's a Republican in office, right? But coming up on the 4th, which is this weekend, it's going down, maybe.
No, I'm terrified right now.
It's shaking in your suit, right?
Last night I dusted off the nunchucks, throwing stars, got them shined up.
Well, good, because I'm going to sleep at your house this weekend.
Okay.
It's going to be great.
Yep.
We'll hang out. You've got to we'll go to the range because this weekend is November 4th, which is the big day when leftists, Antifa, are going to be marching all throughout the country.
They're so stupid they didn't even use November the 5th.
Right?
The day.
Right? Remember the 5th of November.
Yes.
Gunpowder, treason, and plot. They're not clever enough. And it's not November 8th, which of course is the anniversary of the election. November 4th, it must have, I have no idea.
It's Saturday, I guess.
It's just Saturday.
Yeah.
Because they all work, right?
They'll all be hungover on Sunday to go out, so they figured Saturday.
That makes a lot of sense, actually.
One day of drugging, they can still go out.
That makes a lot of sense. They can put down the needle, they can put down the pipe, they can get out for one day for a couple hours. But this is happening all over the country. Unfortunately, it's not happening in Wichita. Local Antifa, which we do have, by the way, I recently found out. Our local Antifa let us down. They're not part of this Refuse Fascism event. I don't know what's wrong with them. I am very disappointed in you if you're watching.
I'll find them. Just look for the skinny jeans.
The skinny jeans and the greasy hair and the weird bandana fetish. But so what they're doing, I mean, there are reports that this is supposed to be a violent protest. Now, of course, you read on their website and they have a list of cities and they say what to bring and they say pots and pans, your banners, your hashtag Drumpf signs, you know, the standard fare. But this money comes from the most moneyed organizations out there. I did the research. It all comes from this shadowy company that nobody knows anything about. And they fund all of these these little nonprofits, and nobody in the media says anything about this.
Probably
They're
wouldn't
totally
have nothing to do with that $18 billion check George Soros just signed over.
Totally nothing to do with it. Totally nothing to do.
This could get pretty serious because we've seen him at the Berkeley and everything go absolutely.
I mean, they cause millions of dollars of property damage. We laugh at them kicking trash cans and knocking over and breaking the windows in Starbucks, but they're violent people. They don't seem mentally well.
No.
And they're being encouraged.
Just hope everybody has their Dodges gassed up.
There you go. There you go. That's going to get us yanked off the air one of these days. But that's close. But, you know, you can't dodge the Dodge.
That's right.
Now, and we talk about them being encouraged. They are literally being encouraged by the media and by Hollywood, by everybody else. We're going to skip ahead here because this has to do with it. Snoop Dogg jokes about the death of Trump. And then I've got this from a lefty website, the Hollywood Gossip, incurs ire of MAGA crowd. And I just want to pull up what, I mean, you've seen this, right, Craig? It's Make America Crip again.
Nice.
Which, of course, is a ghetto gang.
Yes.
So somehow that is the preferable alternative to Trump.
Yes, the early 90s gang culture is way better than the sophisticated, money, nicer lifestyle.
Why would you want that?
Non-violent lifestyle that people choose to lead.
Who needs low taxes when I got Snoop Lion over here telling me that we can get high together? That is much more important.
And he made the video with him shooting Trump and everything. This guy's a joke. He's like
40.
Yeah, 40, 50.
He's
old. Like 6'5" and 100 pounds.
Oh, he looks like he has some kind of horrible terminal illness.
Well, I'm sure she's probably had AIDS since the 80s, but
I can't get past this. You know, I hope the guy's life. I don't know how you can ruin somebody as degenerate as this is life. I mean, let's get that picture up because I want people to see that. Look, he's got the toe tag that says Trump and Make America Crip again. Why is this acceptable in the current day and age?
Well, maybe he's speaking out against the massive Mexican migration that's taken place and ran all the Crips and Bloods out.
He's more, you're right.
Yeah.
He's not saying make, what is it, MS-17?
Yeah.
He's not saying make America MS-17 again.
MS-13. Yeah.
MS-13. Maybe we should
because
get
the Mexicans gangs drove all the Bloods and Crips out of California.
You know, you may have a point, but you know, the thing is, this guy hasn't been in the ghetto in probably 25 years.
Yeah.
I mean, it's 2017 right now, almost 2018. He came to
He has a good point. I might be with him on this.
He might be with him on
because
kick out the
at least those were
gangs.
our gangs, American gangs.
It was American culture. It was unique to us.
Now we got the Mexican, just ruthless slaughters coming over.
They had good music.
They're not bringing their best.
They're not bringing the good music.
Yes.
I don't know if they have
It's
good
German music. Polka music is what Mexicans listen to.
Is that true?
And they don't even know it.
Is that accurate?
It is.
Is that?
Well, you know, the Germans ruled Mexico for quite a while, so.
The Germans ruled. Where was I when this happened?
You weren't alive yet.
But there's some strange culture down there, and I think it's coming up. But we've got, maybe I didn't put it out, but the Mexican drug war. I mean, you brought it up. So the Mexican drug war has actually made it worse than Afghanistan. We talked about this a couple weeks ago. Somebody actually ran the numbers. Even if they just legalized drugs and disempowered all of the cartels, they believe, and this is on Mises.org, you can look it up, but they believe that the murder rate barely even change at this point because they're also entrenched into power. They control politicians. Essentially, Mexico is now just a cartel state.
Oh, yeah. Well, it has been. All the presidents are picked by the cartels, the local politicians, yeah.
Well, the guy, what was the guy who would go out and he still does it? The former Mexican president. I can't remember his name right now.
Vicente Fox.
Vicente Fox. Yeah. He was,
what
by
did
and
he
large,
say on TV?
Oh, terrible things that would get, see.
About the wall, yeah.
This is the unfair world we live in because Vicente Fox can say this tripe and I'm afraid to repeat it because our broadcasting license could be revoked. But until President Trump goes and takes ABCs away, nobody else is going to get revoked.
All it would take is like 10 drone planes to wipe out all these cartels. If they wanted it done, it could be done tomorrow, but too much money is made off drugs.
I think people would also probably be a little bit upset that we went into Mexico without
would anybody care? Nobody would care.
Without a nice false flag.
Nobody'd even know.
Hey, Antifa would march in the streets.
Well, then
and if that doesn't terrify you, then it doesn't me either.
If we could get them all together in one spot, then we have drones to use on
drones. The solution.
I'm in favor of drones
the
now.
Solution
Before I
to
was
everything.
against them, yes.
Depends who's in office, right?
Yeah, that's right.
All right, we've got to take a moment off. You're watching The Honest Media. We'll be back after this quick break with more coverage. Welcome back to The Honest Media. I'm Tom Pappert here with Craig Chrysler, of course. And, you know, we've been talking about the left being encouraged, this type of temper tantrum behavior being encouraged all over the United States, from Hollywood, from D.C., from local politicians, from, literally, everybody you can think. You think I'm kidding? You think I'm exaggerating? Well, get ready, because your breakfast cereal is plotting against you. Kellogg's donates an incredible amount of money to the far left, according to DennisMichaelLynch.com. Kellogg's, the breakfast cereal company, Craig. Literally everybody has a stake in this game at this point. You know, the ancient saying, those who do not want to be interested in politics will still be interested in them. I butchered the heck out of that. But it's incredibly true. I mean, the breakfast cereal, you can't buy breakfast cereal anymore without basically supporting George Soros.
I haven't ate cereal since I was a child, so.
Well, good for you. Sometimes people need a quick option in the morning.
Yes,
But I just read a little bit because it's mind-boggling. Breakfast cereal. Breakfast.
Not surprised.
You can't eat your bran flakes anymore without accidentally
Sometimes you
supporting
need those,
communism.
yes.
You get things moving.
That's right.
But you can't get things moving without supporting communism now.
Oh, geez.
And what is the irony of these capitalist entities, these breakfast cereal companies that make money essentially pushing for communism? It's totally insane. I mean,
Sounds like they don't have any idea what they're doing.
But if you don't believe me, I mean, this is, it all is from a report called the Capital Research Group, and it shows an extensive history of support for liberal and left-wing causes from the W.K. Kellogg Foundation. And we've got a list of these further on. And tell me, Craig, if these sound nonpartisan to you, if these sound like something that, you know, anybody would want to donate to. Red Cross, you know. Okay, so we've got the Center for Social Inclusion, $1.7 million.
No idea what that even would be.
Social inclusion. I want to include you, Craig. I think, do I get the $1.8 million now? Okay. The Center for Equitable Growth, $400,000.
Why not?
You know, whenever you see these words, social and equitable, you know something's up. But it gets worse. The Center for Law and Social Policy. Again, you got social policy, something
and
iffy
law
here.
in that one, even.
But wait, it gets better, because we've got Ralph Nader's Public Citizen.
Yeah, well.
Don't be a hater, vote for Nader.
Yeah, that's right.
But then this is the icing on the cake. Kellogg's, the breakfast cereal company, sending money, $200,000 to the Open Society Institute, George Soros's pet foundation, the one he just wrote the $18 billion check to. Yeah.
Well,
totally
nobody buy Kellogg's anymore, and we're going to rename our highway here in town. That's it.
That's the only logical solution. That's the only logical solution. And now it also shows that they have given $930,000 to Black Lives Matter.
No.
And
they're probably trying to feed them.
Feed the hungry.
Yeah,
you know, that would be a good thing to
Yes.
do. I could get behind that. The Honest Media should have a food drive. I think we should do it.
We can, yes.
I think we should do it.
For Black Lives Matter, or?
Just for leftists in general. They're not doing well.
They're not.
The Trump economy has left them behind.
They look pretty haggard.
They don't know how to
skinny.
work.
And we could actually do a drive for soap and shampoo for them.
That's 10 times better.
Yes.
Get them a nice set of clothes, set them up with some job interviews. We could do some training. We could do mock interviews.
That's right.
This could be our foundation.
We're doing it.
I'm writing Kellogg's in the morning for some money.
Yes.
But now this is, you know, we talk about Black Lives Matter. This is the big, it could be the unraveling, or it could be ramping up, or it could be some random dude ranting on YouTube. I don't know. We'll find out as time goes on. But this comes at us from the Gateway Pundits. Former street activist quits Black Lives Matter after discovering Soros hacks took over the movement.
Oh, big surprise there.
Yeah.
They started the thing.
Exactly. But I am I mean, that is very encouraging to me to think somebody who was buying into the propaganda is now actually realizing that, hey, he has been supporting not what his community needs, but what George Soros and Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton wanted to think it needs. And the guy's name, because YouTube,
it's kind of like when a bunch of Al-Qaeda members quit because they found out the CIA was running them all.
Similar.
Yes.
Again, patterns. It's weird how these things emerge.
It is, ain't it?
But the guy's name, again, this is YouTube, is Chaziel Sons. With a Z, of course. So they got this is a quote from his video. They got us working for them. How they get us is they playing us emotionally. They getting anybody who basically doesn't like Donald Trump to fight for war that is being started on American turf very soon. And they want us to be part of their side. What I'm trying to get the black population to understand, and this is critical, is the movement has been compromised. Black Lives Matter is not actually a black organization and never was. If you have any kind of brain, you know that BLM is endorsed by the Soros and Clinton families. It's refreshing seeing these people wake up. It's like we've been yelling at the wall. It feels like
this is probably Soros's master plan to get all the black people killed because they fund Planned Parenthood and all that, and Margaret Sanger
get them killed in the street. Yeah, Margaret Sanger.
Get all the black weeds to get killed in the street.
Her quote about pulling the black weeds. Yeah. And you may
this
be
actually
onto
really
there. That's a real thing.
It
that
could
is
be
this
actual
could
possibility.
Well, I look at Soros and you look at that guy. That doesn't strike me as a guy who is passionate about the inner cities. We're talking about a guy who, in his heyday, was ruining entire nations' economies. He did it to Great Britain with a phone call.
In his childhood, was a Nazi Jew.
Was a Nazi collaborator who said he feels no guilt.
Yes.
No guilt. He said
it
he
was
feels
a
no
great
guilt.
learning time.
Said it was a great time in his life. You can watch the 60 Minutes interview on YouTube. It's there. It's real. It's terrifying that this guy is taken seriously by so many people. And I find it incredibly. It hadn't happened.
Some country just called for his arrest or something.
Well, Hungary, of course, he lives in Hungary. Hungary has been like fighting open war with this guy, and he just has so much money.
I think there's several countries they'll arrest him on spot if he steps into.
I think you're right about that, because this guy, again, we're not even talking about the political activism. This is a guy who, when he was a private citizen of Hungary, he had built such a financial empire that with a phone call, he could wreck an entire nation's economy by telling people, oh no, I don't think Great Britain's going to be good this year. I think we need to go elsewhere. He could wreck an economy. You look it up. The guy is callous about it. He sees nothing wrong with this.
Yep.
And then he has the audacity to criticize capitalism. It's insane. It's totally insane. And I want to get going. I want to get to the next subject, but I think we're going to take a break before we come back and talk about Trump's tax plan. You're watching The Honest Media. We've got a lot more to talk about today. We're going to talk about Trump's tax plan. We're going to talk about the future of the Democratic Party, and we're going to talk about the United States finally doing what it should and standing up to the crooked, corrupt United Nations. We'll be right back after this break. You're watching The Honest Media with Tom Pappert and Craig Chrisley. Welcome back to The Honest Media. Sorry, we were just having some fun here in the studio during the commercial break. We've got the tax plan. It's officially been released as of today, and as I like to do to spare you, the viewer, I have the New York Times write-up about it right here because I read it, so you don't have to. And lo and behold, people are totally shocked by this tax plan, Craig. They're totally shocked that Trump is helping the middle class, that he's not giving tax breaks to the rich. They're totally shocked. Totally blown away, holy crap, this is a good tax plan. There's the viral video on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook with Mark Dice, I believe, where he goes and he describes a tax plan and he says, so that's Bernie's tax plan. Do you support it? Young people support it, but it's actually Trump's. It is a legitimately good tax plan. But people are shocked. But the thing is, Trump, this is not new. A year and a half ago, he told us what his tax plan would be. This is it. almost word for word.
Imagine that, huh?
A guy trying to keep his promises.
Yeah.
A president, an elected representative of the United States of
Probably
America.
the first president since George Washington that's actually tried to keep his
I
promises.
think Jefferson might have helped, but
Yeah.
you know, Washington did the Whiskey Rebellion. I don't think, is that keeping your promise? He may be the first American politician to keep a promise. Totally, well, okay, Reagan did destroy the communists.
Yeah.
We got to give him
There
that.
you go.
So, okay, the second president in modern history to keep a promise. But it's a good tax plan. We'll read a little bit from the New York Times here, just the highlights. Individual tax rates will change. The plan establishes 3 tax brackets, 12, 25, and 35%. It also keeps a top rate of 39.6% for the highest earners, collapsing the total number of brackets from 7 brackets. That's totally insane. They expect average normal people to be able to do this.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm looking at the first year where unless Trump gets this passed, I don't know how it all is going to work, but I won't be able to do my own taxes this year. I've got too much stuff going on. I'm going to have to go hire an accountant to pay him who knows how much money. It's totally terrible. But so again, 7 brackets is what we had before, going down to just a few. There's going to be changes for the middle class. The proposal doubles the standard deduction for middle-class families, expanding it to $24,000 for married couples, up from $12,700, and setting it to $12,000 for individuals, up from $6,530 today. Republicans also plan to expand the child tax credit to $1,600 from $1,000 and add a $300 credit for each parent and non-child dependent. See, another thing. Leftists should love this. This is wonderful, but I think they hate it. And now this is my tinfoil hat. I'm putting it on right now. I think they hate it because they know that white people are going to have babies.
Yeah, well, we know that they do not want that to happen.
I mean, you see these articles from mainstream publications like CNN that say white birth rate is declining. Here's how Muslims can help.
Yeah.
That's the real title of an article. So I think that they are very upset because they realize that by Trump making it easier for Americans to have babies, we're going to start having a population boom that isn't dependent on Mexico and isn't dependent on the Middle East. We're going to have Americans of all races, creeds, and ethnicities who believe in the American dream, not bringing Mexico here.
Well, that'd be nice.
Or make America Mexico again, as we've heard them scream numerous times. There's going to be no changes to 401k retirement plans. That'll make a lot of people relieved. Nobody was quite sure what was going to happen to that. There is a change in the mortgage interest deduction. One of the biggest flashpoints will be proposed changes to the popular mortgage interest deduction. Under the Republican plan, existing homeowners can keep the deduction, but future purchases will be capped at $500,000. Let me ask you, Craig, how many average everyday Americans are going to ever get it above $500,000? Are you going to go out and buy a $500,000 house in Wichita, Kansas? Because if so, you're in Wichita's 1%. I mean, again, Democrats should be happy.
I'm probably going to buy one tomorrow, actually. But
in closing right now,
yeah, I'm
closing dates,
closing it right
the 15th. Well, good for you. Good for you.
Yeah.
$600,000 house, new car, new suits.
Yes.
He's moving on up.
That's right, people.
But they're also eliminating the medical expense deduction. They're repealing the real estate tax. And again, there's more to it. They're adding limits to the state and local tax deductions. And, of course, something that the New York Times just accidentally glossed over. I don't know how they accidentally do this stuff. Totally makes it just an accident. I'm sure it's just an accident. Just an accident. But they're eliminating the inheritance tax, if at all humanly possible. I think there's still some more
Well, the less
negotiating
taxes, the better, so this sounds good.
Well, and I mean, imagine living on...
I'm still in favor of no taxes, but...
Well, you know, I think we're going to get our friend Adam Kokesh back on the show, and we'll make sure to let you guys have a talk about the no tax plan that he'll be unveiling in 2020.
Yeah.
I like these hardcore libertarians because they push us all further to the right, where we belong. Now, more information about the Trump administration. Nikki Haley. You know, a lot of people don't like her.
I like her.
You like her?
Yeah.
You like Nikki Haley, really?
Yeah, good enough.
Former governor. You know, a lot of people say she's a plant, she's a globalist, she was anti-Trump, she endorsed Rubio, she's a terrible person. But
she's been good at the job she's doing now.
Yeah, which is at the UN. And she said something that is kind of groundbreaking today. Nikki Haley tells the United Nations, "You're not the boss of the United States."
Imagine that.
It's been needed to be said for, when was the United States? What, 47? I mean, it's been needed to be said for a very long time.
Because Obama pretty much told everybody that they were the boss of us.
Well, gave them everything they wanted. He capitulated constantly.
And he illegally served as like the chairman or president of one of their councils while president.
While president of the United States.
Totally illegal.
Amazing the amount of time that guy had on his hands for being the president of the free world.
I know, right?
But so this comes to us from McClatchydC.com. Ambassador Nikki Haley blasted the United Nations Wednesday in a defiant speech to the 193-member General Assembly before it adopted a resolution calling for an end to the U.S. economic embargo on Cuba. Because that's what the UN should be doing.
What about Puerto Rico?
You know, that was messed up. He tried very hard. My Spanish teacher would have been proud, and they gave him a hard time for it.
I liked it. Puerto Rico.
What you're supposed to... Ooh, do we need to talk about the Spanish vowels on television?
I don't know, but I like it. That's what I'm calling it from now on.
Puerto Rico. That's how you say it. I don't know. People got mad at. It's like, you know, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. He tried his hardest to say it right. They still get mad at him.
It was great.
It was a good moment.
It was.
People make mountains out of molehills. But Haley called the long-standing debate political theater. She said, let's be honest about what we really see going on here. The Assembly does not have the power to end the U.S. embargo. It is based in U.S. law, which only the U.S. Congress can change. And again, they're finding reasons to pick on. It's poking the bear. This doesn't seem smart to me. But
we just need to dump the UN. We have no reason for it. Haven't had a reason for it.
I agree.
Yeah.
But just tell me, the UN, this is an indictment, and we got to go to break after this, but the UN, which has done nothing for us,
can't do anything. Sucked tons of our money out.
Besides sucked our money like a sieve.
Resources, money.
But they are standing up for one of the last communist regimes on the planet, where the people drive cars that are 60, 70 years old.
Well, that should tell you everything you need to know about the UN.
Exactly. Yeah. Terrible organization, not interested in the needs of the common man. We've got to take a moment off. You're watching The Honest Media. We'll be right back. Welcome back to The Honest Media. As we told you earlier in the program, the Democrats are not doing so well. Their identity politics is causing their party to fall down around their ears. They're going out and doing damage control left and right, trying to fix it. And of course, their friends in the dishonest media are lying routinely, saying that we all have, what is it that they call it? The Trump regret. The Trump-gret. Because they love incredibly bad portmanteaus. But, so now this is a real poll from the Daily Caller. Senate Democrats should be very worried about the 2018 elections. And I'll just get right into the results here. Only 3 of the 10 Democratic senators for re-election in 2018 have above a 50% approval rates in states that have favored President Trump in 16. So basically what we're finding out here is all these Rust Belt states, all these states that Trump was never supposed to win, didn't have a chance, no Republican was ever going to win them. Turns out not only did he win them, now the voters they're mad at the Democrats who won't work with the Trump. They voted for him. They wanted him to have a chance. The Democrats won't give him one.
The Democrats ain't worked for anybody ever, so.
Or just worked.
Yeah.
Most of them have never had a real job in their lives.
Getting drunk on golf courses and so on.
Having their bizarro press conferences. We'll get into that in a bit. Senators Heidi Heitkamp of North Dakota and Joe Manchin of West Virginia, as well as John Tester of Montana, are the only 3 Democratic senators from purple states with an above 50% approval rating. Not a good sign for the Democratic Party. In a survey done in West Virginia, only 53% of voters approve of Manchin, 36% disapprove. In Montana, again, 53% disapprove this time. That's insane. You know, these are real numbers. These aren't your phony, we're going to call up 400 Democrats and pretend they're all Republicans numbers. In North Dakota, 55% approve of Heitkamp, 32% disapprove. The DNC met in Las Vegas in October to discuss their strategy, meanwhile, but reportedly spent no time debating the merits of these types of identity politics. And of course, by identity politics, we mean when they pit browns against whites, as they put it. You know, it's
or
like
anything they can against whites. basically.
Tear the country apart so they can win an election. Seems fine. You think we're kidding? You don't think that identity politics is real?
Well, hopefully the Democratic Party is on its way out, and we're just going to have right-leaning party, further right-leaning party, further right-leaning.
You mean like the 50s?
Yeah, something
like that. You mean like all of America up until like 1980? But now you don't think identity politics are real because a lot of people are like, we live in Kansas. We don't see as much. We see some, but we don't see, we don't see the threat of identity politics. But this is what it really looks like. Blatant racism. Blatant anti-white racism. The DNC. White men shouldn't apply for tech jobs.
Heck no, they shouldn't.
White men need not apply. But it's better. I've got the Fox News version. I've also got the Daily Wire version, which has the actual email from the DNC. I mean, this is real. This is a real life. This would be like if I, a hiring manager at Great Plains Television Network, just totally said, no, we're not going to be EEO compliant. No. We're going to just straight up say no whites.
Yeah.
No black. What if it was no blacks? Totally insane.
Oh,
but this is the text.
That would be a huge uproar if they did that.
Oh, it'd be terrible. And it would be terrible.
Yes.
You shouldn't be able to do that. It's wrong. But now this is the email, and the subject is "work at the DNC!" exclamation point. A bit more than just the messenger here, but we in the technology department here at the DNC are looking to hire for the following positions. They list a series of positions. As you may have heard, we are rebuilding the technology team into a robust, well-oiled machine that can tackle all elections, from presidential down to the dog catcher and school board. What's more important is that we are focused on hiring and maintaining a staff of diverse voices and life experiences. Again, one of these words, diverse. Anytime you hear it, let the little hairs on your neck go up. Something that bad's happening. We are building a distributed tech team so most of our positions can be based wherever you happen to live. Please let us know. And they go on to say, no white cis males need apply.
Well, they're probably just going to end up with a bunch of Indian guys sending dirty messages to women all day.
Yeah, there you go. Please open mob. But now, this is the actual quote. I personally would prefer that you not forward to cisgender white males, since they're already the majority. I mean, this is nuts.
Well, next thing, Democratic Party, they're going to have, white people are going to have to use special restrooms. They're going to be, only white drinking fountains.
Yeah. And it's just reverse.
Yes,
60 years.
It'll be the short drinking fountain.
The rusty one.
And the old restroom.
And then, coloreds get the nice stuff. It's straight up racism. They're not even hiding it. It's right out of the 1950s. It's just, but this is what I was taught in college. This is why it's okay. This is what I was taught in college. Power plus privilege equals racism. And only white people have power, and only white people have privilege. Therefore,
what about the Asians?
We don't talk about them.
We don't talk about the Asians?
We pretend that Asians don't exist, actually. In fact, we no longer accept them into college. You can look it up. You on the ACT and SAT, you get negative points for being Asian now. Because they say Asians, they don't admit this because Asians still vote Democrat, but they hate Asians because Asians do so well. They're the best at everything. There's no Asians in prison. There's no Asians in poverty. Asians come to this country and all of a sudden they're in the most powerful technology positions. It's like the meme. It was a great meme about in South Africa. A new South African person is one of the greatest mathematicians in the regions. They show a picture. It's an Asian girl. People have differences. They're beautiful. They're great, but we need to admit them. So they don't talk about Asians. We all just pretend Asians don't exist.
Yeah, I'm sorry for brought it up.
That's right. That's right. That is the most racist thing about it. Don't bring up a minority unless you can use it to get them to vote for you, right? They're blatant.
Pesky Asians out there.
Pesky Asians ruining the FBI crime statistics by making it so that minorities aren't all in poverty and in prison. Totally nuts. But I mean, I'm fascinated by this, and I share a birthday with Hillary Clinton. I share a name with the new DNC chairman, Tom Perez, and this is the guy who's,
I'm out of here.
This is the guy who's spearheading it, though, and I find it horrible that
guy's an absolute nutcase.
He is. You look at him in the eyes, he looks crazy.
He was yelling at people one day.
Screaming obscenities. Yeah. I mean, it's totally nuts.
Telling people to shut the F up or
something.
Yeah.
And we're going to I mean, I don't even know how to say it in a politically correct fashion, but shouting of something, something, blank, 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 bleep, 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 Trump. Like, this is the new way that they're going to win the hearts of Americans.
Yeah, that shows you where the Denver, they literally elected the craziest human I've ever seen to be the chair of their party.
And well, the craziest, Craig, come on. The previous one, Debbie Wasserman Schultz.
This guy is crazier.
He's Debbie Wasserman Schultz without the wig.
He can barely speak, first of all, and then, I don't know.
He sounds like he's talking to a group of kindergartners, too, whenever he does.
Yeah, I don't know
it's
what.
Bizarre.
Sounds like something's in his mouth.
Something.
Yeah,
something's in his mouth. Got to take a moment off. We'll be right back with our final segment right here on The Honest Media. When we come back, we're going to talk about the Democrats who are defecting from the narrative, which, believe it or not, there is at least one. And then we're going to talk about the death spiral of cable news. We'll be right back after the break. You're watching The Honest Media. Welcome back to The Honest Media. It's been a fun show back in the new studio. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you enjoy the new look. I hope you enjoy it as much as I do, because we put a lot of work into it. It was not an easy switch. So like we said in the last segment, I want to talk to you a little bit about the Democrats who are defecting from the narrative. I mean, that is something, Craig, that you don't often see. And I have given props to somebody who I never thought I would have any modicum of respect for at least 5 times in the last couple months. And I'm a little bit scared. But It's Nancy Pelosi, the woman who forgets what day it is sometimes. Let's be honest.
She forgets a lot of stuff, yeah.
She's nuts. Mm-hmm. She thinks Bush is in office every other day. She is legitimately, she shouldn't be in office anymore. However, she has been against the whole impeachment topic all along, because she realizes, as somebody who has been in politics since the Paleolithic era, that you cannot win by just going around and obstructing and saying, the president needs to die, the horrible things these people say. So
she's at least smart enough to realize that.
She knows how politics works.
And smart enough to feel the wind changing. So.
Yes, but she is a dinosaur. Look at that face. That face has more.
I think she's Zeke Highland right there in that picture, actually. You might want to put that away.
I think you might be right, but I mean, her face, it looks like plastic.
It is. It's totally
There
plastic.
is no face left in that face.
It's rubber, actually.
If you look at pictures of her from 30 years ago, it's not the same woman. But anyway, enough ragging on Nancy Pelosi's bad plastic surgery. By the way, she's incredibly rich. Makes no sense if you look at where she's from.
Hundreds of millions somehow while in office.
While in office for 40 years. Yeah. Totally random, just happens sometimes. Left hand to God.
Don't look into that, Tom.
No.
That's racist.
No, but we will give her some props. House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi, this comes out from Politico, by the way, offered a forced smile recently when asked on MSNBC's, you talked about this before the show started, Craig, when asked on MSNBC about a Tom Steyer-sponsored ad that calls for President Trump's impeachment. Now, of course, she knew she was on MSNBC, so she can't say what she really thinks, but what she did say was, that's a great ad, and then she went on to talk about the Democrats' better deal economic agenda as the TV spot wrapped up.
It's a terrible ad. I've seen it.
Oh, it's god-awful ad. I mean, but she's pushing away from the impeachment nonsense and talking about. But maybe we should stop doing this, because it's the old. It was a Sun Tzu. Never correct your enemy when he's making a mistake, because they're going to crucify her for this. Now, she also said, there's nothing any of us can say to Congress that's going to change people's view of Donald Trump. They're being, she's trying to be realistic, and then people come against her and say that she's terrible.
Well, what is this guy's name that's running all these ads? He's spending hundreds and hundreds of millions putting all these impeachment ads out.
Tom, I believe you say Steyer. And
he even had it on Fox News in the middle of Tucker Carlson.
But let me
I was like, what is this?
But these guys are totally nuts if they think it's going to work, because he's on Fox, which is a terrible place for an anti-Trump ad.
They're like, we'll take your money, you idiot, I guess.
Hey, they can give me some money. I'll cut them a heck of a deal on some TV advertising. They can be one of the official sponsors of The Honest Media if they want. I am non-discriminatory, and especially when it comes to money. I will take your money. But you know where else they've advertised, Craig, these impeach Trump ads? in the New York Times.
Full page ad.
Does that not seem counterproductive? I mean, it's just wasting money. All he's doing at this point is using his billions to
there's one
virtue
thing we've
signal.
learned past year and a half: Democrats are not very intelligent people.
They're not good with money. It's like
they're definitely not good with money. Yeah.
Hillary Clinton,
they're good at making a lot, but then they just like throwing it in the fire.
Well, when you don't earn your money, when your money just comes to you magically and you're not having to actually work and sweat and toil for your money, it's not the same to give it away.
Yeah, that's right.
But I mean, we bring up a good point. Hillary Clinton said during the campaign regarding Donald Trump in the 1990s, what kind of brilliant businessman loses $1 billion in a year? Hillary Clinton lost over $1 billion in her presidential campaign. I don't know, Hillary. You tell us.
Yes.
You tell us. I'm telling you, Craig. We've got to do these workshops. I think it could be a great event. Antifa workshops where we come and we teach them how to dress. I'll donate a tie. I'll give each of them a tie. We can give them some of my old jackets that don't fit anymore. You've probably got some too. This is actually a thing. This would be bringing the country together.
Yes.
I think the president would be proud.
We can do it.
I think that teach them how to manage their finances, like tell them what a checkbook is. Mention that credit card bills occasionally have to be paid.
How to wear clothes that fit properly, everything.
Don't look like you're 14 anymore.
Yes.
Where to get a reputable haircut.
Yeah, shave the dreadlocks off.
And the fact that you have your big beard.
Put makeup on your face tattoos, stuff like that.
Cover up your tattoos on your wrist. Wear gloves all the time. I think we have an opening here. This could be our next big business. Keep an eye out. Tom and Craig, the Antifa Rehabilitation Workshop.
It could be a big show.
Oh, it could be. TLC
huge.
would eat it up. This is going to be great. Keep an eye out. That's our next big venture. But before we close out the show today, I want to tell you about the death of cable news. And not just cable news, because this has to be in part due to ESPN and all the other people in all throughout cable who are shilling against the president constantly. This is from BCR. 1 million people cut the cord in the last 3 months, and cable companies are worried. Now, I am somebody...
And this includes satellite and everything, too.
Yes,
Okay.
pay TV services, cutting pay TV services. And now, I am somebody who I work at a TV station. This is something that I follow. Every quarter, people cancel cable. People have been doing it for years. It's overpriced. You don't get enough entertainment. There's 60-plus channels you can get with an antenna, a pair of rabbit ears, or something on your roof. People are cutting cable, but I have never seen 1 million people cut cable in one quarter. Usually, it's 200,000, 300,000, 400,000. 1 million people.
Yeah, on the cheap end, it's like $100 a month, and 90% of the channels are stuff that you will never watch anyway. So it's a waste of money.
This means, and for those sitting at home, no CNN, no Fox News, no MSNBC, no garbage. All you're going to get are the big four, whatever you can get online.
And all that stuff you can watch on YouTube.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It may not be totally kosher, but you can watch it on YouTube.
Yeah.
But and I wonder, some of this has to be, I imagine. And all I can say for the first time in my life is thank you, Colin Kaepernick. I'm going to use your real name because I think this is all due to Kaepernick and the football kneelers.
Yeah, well.
The kneers. That's what it is. Nobody wants to watch it. Nobody wants to subsidize that garbage. Cancel cable.
Good.
Thank you, Colin Kaepernick. You've done a good thing for America. You've done a good thing for media. You've done a good thing for the world. Who knew these words would come out of my mouth?
I didn't. I still don't believe it. But the only real vote you do have is with your dollar in this country, so just remember that.
Well, we did get Trump in. I don't know if that's necessarily true. But I'm telling you, people, cable bill, rip it up. Thanks, Colin. It's been a great episode. You've been watching The Honest Media. I'm Tom Pappert here with Craig Chrysler at our brand new TV studio right here in Wichita, Kansas. We've got to say goodbye for today, but it's been a good episode. We will be back, and I'm serious this time, same place next week.